Despite the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic inflicting chaos throughout the continent, Poland's ruling Law and Justice (PiS) party is desperately trying to proceed with plans for a presidential vote on May 10, where the favored candidate, President Andrzej Duda, has surged ahead in recent polls. But the party is facing a huge backlash from critics, who claim that with Europe in the midst of trying to fight back against the coronavirus crisis, there won't be enough time to properly prepare for a completely postal ballot, a first in Poland's history. Poland has so far reported 12,089 confirmed coronavirus cases and 570 deaths. The country is in the midst of a nationwide lockdown, with the border closed, while schools and most shops are shut. Poles must also wear face masks when outside. PiS has been accused by critics of putting its own political interests ahead of public health concerns, an accusation the party strongly denies. Critics have also warned a postal vote as soon as May 10 would trigger data privacy concerns, but PiS has insisted any all-mail vote could take place safely and follow any social distancing or lockdown rules still in place. Former European Council President Donald Tusk, who is the current leader of the center-right European People's Party (EP), is refusing to vote and is urging his rivals to do exactly the same. Mr. Tusk, who was also Prime Minister of Poland for 7 years between 2007 and 2014, said the plan to hold the postal ballot was insufficient to mitigate current safety concerns from the coronavirus pandemic, accusing PiS of subverting the constitution. Basic human decency does not allow us to participate in what is being proposed. Donald Tusk opinion polls show less than a third of Poles are likely to cast ballots if the postal vote is held on May 10 as planned. He said in a video posted on Twitter, "Basic human decency does not allow us to participate in what is being proposed." Citing the late anti-communist activist, Władysław Bartoszewski, who is seen as a leading moral authority by many Poles, Mr. Tusk added, "If you don't know how to act, be decent." The former president also said PiS could be persuaded to work on an alternative election plan that would be safe and fundamentally fair. More than 600 Polish judges have sent a letter to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, which promotes fair elections, saying, "We're concerned by the threat to basic norms, such as the rule of universal and secret suffrage." They argue it will be impossible to ensure all ballots reach eligible voters and that Poles may not have a real possibility to cast their vote, given this would be the first postal vote in the country's history and the distinct lack of time to prepare for it. Several Polish and international judiciary associations are also calling on the European Union to take urgent action. In a letter addressed to Commissioners Vera Jourova and Didier Reynders, they have said, "We are writing to you in respect of the worsening breakdown of the rule of law in Poland, as well as specifically in regard to actions that must be taken ahead of the upcoming presidential election. An unfair and not free presidential election is due to take place at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic." But support from Poland's opposition parties has been muted so far, with only the Civic Platform, a centrist group once led by Tusk, also calling for an outright boycott of the election. Parliament will ultimately determine if the postal ballot takes place in less than 2 weeks. It will only vote on the matter on May 6, 4 days before the scheduled election date. PiS has suggested it could delay the vote by a further 2 weeks. But under the Constitution, the government would have to declare a state of emergency or natural disaster to postpone it further, a move the ruling party is strongly against.